battles continue on Capitol Hill, there seems to be one thing Republicans and Democrats can agree on right now.
This vote, the yeas are 424, the nays 1.
The U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution this week that condemns racist statements made by Iowa Congressman Steve King to the New York Times. King said white nationalists, white supremacists, Western civilization. How did that language become offensive?
There is no tape. There's no way to go back and listen. But I can tell you this, that ideology never shows up in my head. I don't know how it could possibly come out of my mouth.
The resolution stops short of a formal censure, but the vote sends a message, one that everyone seems to be getting behind.
Steve King's comments were abhorrent.
Here in Arizona, we have our own controversy surrounding racially charged comments from a state lawmaker.
Everybody looks the same, everybody talks the same, but that's not the case with African Americans and other racial groups, because they don't melt in, they don't blend in, they always look different.
Those comments by Prescott State Representative David Stringer has drawn condemnation by those within his own party.
I'm trying to rein in what I'm feeling in my stomach, but there will be disciplinary action. I've talked to him previously and told him that I would not tolerate anything like this, and I will not tolerate it now.
But there's been no formal action at the Capitol, leading some to wonder what they plan to do.
I think I need to let my constituents know that I feel strong and that I have no intention of resigning. Thank you.
And Roy Tatum from the East Valley chapter of the NAACP joins me now. And Mr. Tatum, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I want to talk to you a little bit. First, we should mention that Mr. Stringer has been disciplined, or he's been stripped of committee assignments and his chairmanship. But I do want to start with saying you've had a recent conversation with House leadership. Was this about censuring or disciplining Mr. Stringer further, and what came out of this meeting?
Absolutely. Speaker Bowers granted the NAACP the meeting that we requested. Let me say this was with the Arizona State Conference, NAACP. So our state president, Charles Fennell, was in attendance. Also, our Maricopa branch, Dr. Karen Hardin, was in attendance, and along with myself as the East Valley president, was in attendance with Speaker Bowers. And we just wanted to share our collective feeling about David Stringer and the tone and the climate around his comments, and obviously some of the messages that have come from some of his supporters to the NAACP.
Okay, and you guys were pushing for a formal censure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're pushing for a formal censure. We expect for that to come to the House floor hopefully next week.
Did Mr. Bowers say that he would support you in this?
He said he wouldn't stop it, and he said he supports it and agrees.
Wow. And why continue with this? I mean, like I said earlier, he had been stripped of his committee assignments. Except for one. But he has been punished in that respect. Why push for the further action?
Well, because there has to be a zero tolerance of this type of language and this type of dialogue within our state government. It should be within our government, federal, state, and local. And obviously, you led in with the Steve King situation. So this is not new. This is something that has to be addressed. It has to be addressed swiftly and sternly.
Yeah, and is there still a boycott? Because after this all stuff broke, where is that? Are you guys still warning your members to stay away from the Prescott area?
Well, the city of Prescott, Greg Mingarelli and Mike Lamar, the city manager, have done so much to open up dialogue with the community and with local officials, with myself, with our NAACP leaders. We're right now really looking forward to moving forward and working to some level of an agreement to make sure that the mayor's office has some diversity around it. We've encouraged Greg Mingarelli to have a diversity board, an advisory board around around him. Let's look at the hiring in Prescott. And so these are some of the things that we're looking forward to within the city.
Okay, and I guess the other big question now is moving forward with this, with this public condemnation on the floor. If that was to happen, does it stop there, or do you move forward with a recall?
Well, that's up to the community of Prescott. That's Legislative District 1. I would love to see a recall if I'm giving my personal opinion, but that is completely up to the community that actually elected Representative Stringer. So many people said that they didn't know that Representative Stringer had these views or had such a warped sense of African Americans or even Latinos. So they get a chance to correct that mistake if they're truly sincere.
And meanwhile, the session has started. Mr. Stringer is filing bills now. One of the defenses of keeping Mr. Stringer there, not being, at the legislature, is like, look, he's really good on criminal justice reform issues. And I know this is and I know this is an important issue for you. And he is filing these bills. What do you make of all that?
Well, like I said, good for who? I don't know. I have to really look at this with a side eye. I have to be very scrutinous when I look at David Stringer presenting criminal reform legislation, knowing that how the criminal justice system has disproportionately affected African Americans. And so for someone to have such an abhorrent position on African Americans to want to present legislation affecting the criminal justice system can't be trusted.
All right. Well, I think that's about all the time we have now for this segment. And thanks again for stopping by. And
thank you.
Still